The views and opinions expressed by the hosts do not state or reflect those of the company and its management. Any assumptions, views, and insinuations made by the hosts or guests do not reflect those of the show, the management, and the network. Listener discretion is advised.
Warning. This podcast contains spoilers.
Third World Cinema Club.
Taking of photographs or video and audio recording is strictly prohibited inside the theater. Mahigpit pong ipinagbabawal ang paggamit ng kamera o anumang uri ng video at audio recording equipment sa loob ng tanghalan.
Hello guys, welcome to Third World Cinema Club. This is a continuation of our Cinemalaya coverage. I'm John Tawasil from Present Confusion.
Hi, I'm Princess Kinok of Film Police Reviews.
Hello, I'm DJ from reversedelay.net.
Hi, I'm Jim of Jimmy Licolat Iba Pa.
I'm Gilbert Rafferty of Film Police Reviews.
Okay, so today we'll be talking about other films that are not from the main competition of Cinemalaya. That includes the very expansive indie shorts category, 3 special premieres, and 2 of the documentaries that were featured. Unfortunately, we were not able to watch all of the, all of the Gawad Alternativo and the Visions of Asia. So I guess this will have to do for now. So without further ado, let's start with Indie Nation Shorts A with Igib. This is directed and starring Joey Paras. Nag-start siya sa pagtatae and it ends with something else. Ganyan. Any thoughts about Igib? Directed by Joey Paras.
Dapat may trigger warning yung short film na yan.
Wala nagsasalita.
Warning, tae.
Warning, tayo involved.
Alam mo yon, medyo garapal siya in terms of yung language na ginagamit, in terms of yung may sense ka na shit, ang hirap-hirap ng mga taong ito. Pero underneath it all, especially near the end, this is a character study about isang mother na paliwara, isang nanay na na pabaya, kumbaga, very irresponsible, doesn't clean up her own shit, literally, ganon. Tapos, itong si Joey Paras, akala mo nang una, siya yung villain ng storya, until ma-realize mo na parang binabahay lang niya yung nanay niya doon. Parang out of some sort of familial or filial piety, ganon. Pero at the end, yung tipong malalaman mo na siya talaga yung taong tipong binigyan mo ng if you give her an inch, she'll take a mile. Ganun ang peg. At tipong kukuha siya ng walang ano. Pero yon, unfortunately yun nga, natabunan siya, medyo shrill yung tone niya. Pero otherwise, ang galing pa rin ng performance ni Joey Paras for me. It's definitely different from his other films, yung pang MMK, tsaka yung isa niyang short film for yung Cinemalaya Institute. Yun lang. Any other thoughts about Igib before we move on to the next film? Walay na.
Pretty much you've said it all. Tsaka to add lang naman, parang yun nga, ang experience ko kay Igib is parang siyang prelude to Tribu, gano'n. Gano'n yung vibes niya. Parang sinana yung root of all corruption, ganyan na parang.
Ganun no? Pero alam mo yung anak na minamahal pa rin yung magulang kahit papano, kahit na ang daming ginawang masama na niya.
Daming etchos ni nanay.
Ang daming etchos in life. Ganun. Ayun. So,
good direction naman.
Rafi, ikaw?
Ironic yung Igib. It's very ironic kasi diba, we ended the main competition section with The Slums by Jacoby. So, right after doon, diba, Indie Nation. Tapos, yun yung unang-unang pelikula. So, credits to whoever did that. You know, I'm not sure if it was intentional. Pagdikitin sila. But yun, it's exactly kasi what The Slums is trying to criticize. Yung exploitation of poor. I felt like with the film, ang powerful ng performances, and hindi naman natin pwedeng itanggi na this isn't happening. But what felt within the whole film, kasi it felt like parang nakikita natin yung may hirap na parang ganito lang yung nila, yung setup nila, yung situation nila, like it's always something terrible, or it's always something bad. What really triggered me was yung part with the kid with the mental health issues.
Yeah.
Personally, on a personal standpoint, kasi I have a brother who's within the spectrum, who has autism spectrum disorder. So, I felt like mas siguro nabigyan ng attention yung pag treat dun sa character rather than parang ginawa lang siyang decoration.
Para siyang proper.
Make it feel like it's so hard to be poor. Ayan.
I'm not sure though if it's completely serious. Kasi up until that scene with the child with a disability, tinatawanan ko yung pelikula. Tawan-tawa ako na, seryoso ba to? Ganito ka, parang wala siyang gustong gawin kundi demon shock. To the point na parang, siguro there's a level of parang sarcasm dito na, yun.
Pwede, no? Siyempre si Joey Paras is a well-known comedian, so baka ganun yung gusto niyang parang read ng film or yung tone ng film at the first.
Parang hindi lang siya meta like The Slums, pero in a way parang it's poking fun at the entire situation pa rin.
I see. Oo nga naman. Ayun. Pwede naman. So, yun. Any more thoughts about Igib before we move on to the next film? Okay na. So, let's go to Jepoy. This is an animated film by Avid Yongoren. Avid directed Saving Sally, among other things, well-known animator. So, this is about a kid who misses his parent, who is an OFW. And he learned about a certain disaster that we'll not name and gains inspiration to do something. And that's why he got leukemia. I'm just kidding about that last part. But anyway, what do you think of Jepoy? Jepoy, the film. Have any of you seen Jepoy? Yeah? No?
Heartfelt siya. It's very heartfelt. Yung the whole tone. Siguro it's very the approach to the film. It's like Avid Yongoren has already found his voice from Saving Sally. Tapos meron pa siyang isang short film na pinalabas natin sa MMFF. I forgot the title na lang din. Pero yun, very similar yung tones niya. Of course, the ending part, siguro I have some issues about it kasi it may be a trigger warning for something which I will not bring up na lang. It depends on what people will interpret it to be. Pero ayun, parang the ending part could have been handled differently. Pero ang ganda ng film. It's really heartfelt. It's so sincere. It's genuine.
Please don't expose yourself to dangerous radiation. Yun lang, as a medical professional. Pero yun, basically I agree naman. It's a heartfelt film. It means well. Yun, ganun na lang. And I can't fault it for doing so. So let's move on to the next film. The next film is Ang Meron sa Wala. So, or in English, Beyond Nothing. So Ang Meron sa Wala is directed by R.B. Laranyo. And it chronicles a man who tells the audience about his trials and tribulations in life and losing his kid because of various life problems. And it sounds like, well, in at first reading it looks like a very straightforward, documentary na may konting hugot na kasama. Pero in its final minutes, you see what there's a twist to it that I won't tell it to you, that completely changes the nature of the film to me. May parang meta siya na pinupuntahan that I really, really liked. So, what did you guys think about Ang Meron sa Wala?
Ito siguro yung una kong napanood na Indie Nation shorts. Kasi in-skip ko talaga si Egib. Kasi parang yun nga, nabasa ko sa inyo na medyo maganda yung feedback. So, yeah. And yun, true enough, nakakaiyak siya. It's very, very heartfelt documentary-ish film, short film, na tungkol sa isang matanda nga, na tapos yun nga, he shows us his world, na parang ibang, for me, very refreshing siya. I mean, hindi siya yung usual mo na documentary na very personal. Sa kanya, very personal kahit di sila related no subject niya. Tapos ang ganda ng edits niya kasi to be able to get that kind of footage. Tapos, actually, naalala ko sa kanya yung isang short film na napanood natin dati tungkol sa mga teacher. Ay, dun sa matandang gusto mag-aral.
Ano nga ba ito?
Yung parang grade 2 lang ata.
Ano yun, Rafi?
A is for Agustin ba to?
A is for Agustin, tama.
Ayan. Yun, tsaka yun. So, parang very good entry ng filmmakers. I'm not sure if this is their first film, pero maganda siyang entry into Cinemalaya kasi unlike the other shorts, hindi niya ine-expose yung reality ng poverty, pero kumbaga, pinapakita niya yung sensitive side nun yung effects ng poverty.
Nandun yung kahirapan, nga, pero hindi siya yung central focus. Parang mas sentro yung humanity ng characters.
Mm-mm.
And also, yun nga, it also questions it's commenting also on the documentary form in terms of the artist and his subject without spoiling anything further. Pero yun, very, ang galing niya.
How far will you get your subject, diba, to say
what
yun,
to say
dun
those
ako,
things.
So ang galing talaga nung the way na basta yun. No, yung end nung ang galing nila very inquisitive sila mag-shoot. Yes.
Any other comments about Ang Meron sa Wala? All right. So, let's go on to the next film and please excuse me kung I stumble in pronouncing this. Pinaka nakapagpabagabag damdamin. Wow. Hindi ko na ulitin yun. So, this film, actually, hindi ko siya masyadong matandaan That's, it's about, I think, there's some kind of romance and someone dies. Tagal ko na kasi itong napanood.
Ako naalala ko very clearly. So it starts off with a folklore, parang yun yung narration. Mm-hmm. And then there's this two male friends who talk about one of the following two boys moving to a different place, whether it be the city or provinces. It wasn't really mentioned. And then basically they talk about trivial things like, women, their crushes. And then while they were swimming, one of them dies.
Tapos may parang implied na
attack to nature.
Yeah, oo. Ikaw, Rafi, what did you think about it? Kasi ako talaga hindi siya nag-register sa akin masyado
Parang, kasi siya? I mean, you kind of get the point of the film in a way, but at the same time, you don't. Alam mo yun? Wait lang. Parang ma-explain. Kasi, the film is obviously centered on the two boys, but at the same time, it's also trying to pinpoint na hindi natin inaalagaan yung dagat ng maayos. Kasi, siguro, this might be a spoiler, pero one of the scenes kasi na papakita dun is, binato nung isa nung characters dun yung parang plastic ng soft drinks sa dagat. Tapos eventually, yun nga, this caused one of the boys to die.
Okay.
It's messy. Or not really messy. Well, it is messy. But at the same time, you kind of want to ask what the point is of the whole thing kasi you might get it, everything gets lost in translation eh. Kasi may folklore, tapos may tawag dito, may pa-atake about sa, not taking care of nature, tapos you try to discover these boys and what's been going on with their lives, how they're boys just being boys. But again, what's the point? What exactly is the essence of the film? Parang yun yung nawala eh. Everything got lost in the translation because of the mess.
Gusto ko yung isang review sa Letterboxd. Parang utwas pero ibang probinsya. Charet. Anyway.
Yan, yes.
Utwas pero ibang probinsya. Anyway, any final thoughts about this film na mahaba ang title na hindi ko nasasabihin ulit before we move on to the next film? Okay na? So, let's go to Sakmit. This is a film about illegal loggers and the people trying to stop them. Tapos may parang film within a film thingy at the end na nangyari. Anyone want to talk about Sakmit? Ako again, this is another film that didn't register to me that much. I appreciate yung pagka-meta-ish niya dun sa huli, pero parang nakukulangan ako dun. Anyway, kayo guys, anyone? Sakmit? No?
Ako.
Yeah, Jim.
Kasi nung may nakita ko sa Letterboxd na may nag-rate ng Sakmit na parang 1/5. So, grabe naman. So,
hindi naman siguro 1.
Oo. Kasi ako naman, on my end, ito kasing klase ng kwento na pinakita sa Sakmit. Napanood na natin to before, yung mga illegal logging sa mga TV specials or mga TV anthology, ganun. Ang na-appreciate ko with Sakmit ay yung cinematography niya. Kasi yung technical aspects naman ng film ay excellent naman. Tapos, lalo yung color, magaling yung color grading ng film eh. Ganun. And then, ang remarkable dito sa akin, si Publio Briones. Kasi di ba siya yung parang mayor ba yun? Na parang,
para siyang pambansang corrupt public official, di ba?
Oo, parang natatype ka ba siya? Kasi, napanood ko siya in Babylon, but not in a short history, di ba? Pero, so, bakit siya na naman ulit?
Ang pambansang corrupt public official.
Oo.
Publio Briones.
Ayun, yun lang. Short lang yung masasabi ko with Sakmit.
Any more before we move on to set B? Okay na? Alright. So, shorts, Indie Nation short set B. We start with Dama de Noche. So this is a film that's in black and white and is told from entirely through the viewpoint of a coffin eye view, kumbaga. And it takes place during the wake of an OFW, and the people that this person left behind, that she left behind, are either fighting over what's left or are lamenting her death. And it's a sad OFW story which shows the amount of sacrifice that people have to parang take, ganun, in order to provide for their loved ones kahit na ayaw nila. And at the end, hanggang pati buhay nila nawala din. And parang the point of view para sa akin when I wrote my review of this film, it's the coffin eye view gives you the feeling na parang nililibing ka ng buhay. So parang ganun siguro yung OFWs na tipong parang they're trapped in this cage na dapat kumuha ka ng pera for your family to the detriment of your life. Na wala ka naman choice kasi kailangan yung mabuhay. Yun. Anyway, any thoughts about Dama de Noche? Dama de Noche. Anyone? No? All right. Let's go on to Grand Gestures. Yan. Grand Gestures, personally one of my favorite films in all of the sets actually. So Grand Gestures is directed by Cody Abad. So this is about a young man who goes home to his father's wake, and he doesn't have a good relationship with his mother. But over the next few days during the week, they try to reconcile. Actually, that's it. It's a very simple tale, but ang dami niya sinasabi kahit na kahit na sobrang konti ng dialogue. And ayun, I think it's very meaningful, and it uses the shorts format very well. How about you guys? Any thoughts about grand gestures?
I think this is the kind...
Sige, DJ, ikaw muna.
Parang when you watch this film, it's easy to see why it's the kind of slow and minimalist film na gusto natin yung ganitong tone palagi. I think unahin ko lang yung what I would see as yung negative na minsan it can be too clinical. Parang it's too concerned with elegance. Like yung criticism na binato nila din sa Distance by Percy and Talan. Pero otherwise, it's ganda eh. Ang galing parang... And one particular thing about this film is yung set design niya, yung production design, because it becomes integral din sa storytelling eh. I mean, nasa synopsis din naman siya na it's about things being rearranged, being brought out. So parang they tell a story through yung set design. Kasi the characters themselves are too quiet eh.
Yan. Rafi, how about you?
Sobrang agree ako dun sa sinabi niyo po, kayo ni Kuya DJ, regarding sa grand gestures. Napaka-powerful talaga ng silence. I mean, throughout the whole film, you can feel the silence parang serving as a big weight as you watch it. And parang you feel their struggles even though they're not saying anything. You just see them, move, sometimes talk about, the most trivial of things, sometimes not even talk at all. You can feel that there's something going on between the characters of Irma Adlawan and Gio Gahol, And it's funny that Gio Gahol had a maleta na naman in the same way na he had a maleta sila.
Gio Gahol with the Maleta Cinematic Universe. Ganun. Ayan.
Maleta Cinematic Universe. Ganun din sa grand gestures. Yung maleta, in the same way that it was defined or it was characterized in the film Changing Partners, di ba binigyan ng meaning yung maleta? Feeling ko ganun din eh. There's some sort of weight that is with Gio Gahol's character. Literally, and we see that throughout the...
Yeah, literally may dala siyang baggage.
Diba? Tapos, ang hirap siyang i-reconcile with Irma Adlawan's character, and in the long run you realize that you have to move on, you have to move forward, and you can only move forward once you move on. And through the rearrangement of the things, lalo na doon sa bandang dulo, when they decide to probably put things into the trash or let go of things, that's when you can say that you're on the first step of accepting what's going on, acknowledging that, whatever problems that they had, which we never really knew even, it's something in the past and we have to move forward.
Saka biglang gumalaw na yung camera sa ending na yun, parang after being static for so long, biglang may movement.
Yeah.
Very nice. Pati yung visual language na nare-reflect yung changes. Very nice. Ang galing talaga. I hope to see more from this director in the future. Yun. So I guess let's move on to the next film. Mata. Yun. AKA shit, hindi nasusunog na yung burger. So basically yung pinaka nito is, ang pinaka lesson nito is don't judge a man don't judge a book by its cover, because he's just a book. Ganun. Ayun, very simple lang. Sayang yung burger. Gusto ko sana mag-order sa kanya. Mukhang mura lang. Etc. Any more thoughts about Mata before we move on to the next one?
Pero nag-flip talaga yung burger, di ba?
Oo. Parang gusto ko nang
mag-flip.
Gusto ko na mag-step in to flip it myself. Kasi talagang sunog na. Ay, yun nga. Baka may nag-flip na ibang tao. Oo. Parang, huy, baka makakain ko to. Ganun. Nanakawan niya. Ganun. Charet. Anyway. Yeah.
When I read the reviews kasi, everywhere, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Letterboxd, I feel like masyadong misunderstood yung mata. I think it has good intentions. Siguro kasi student short siya, tapos parang it's been done before. Pero if you see the execution all throughout, maayos naman siya eh.
Yeah, it's not
And
bad,
it has
actually.
good intentions. So, I feel like masyado siyang na-antagonize. It's one of the most antagonized shorts, I believe, sa Cinemalaya that I think should be getting more recognition because it's one of the better shorts in the Indie Nation lineup.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, hindi naman completely yung judgment sa kanya. Parang ang meta, pati tayo gina-judge natin yung short. We shouldn't be judging the short by its relative simplicity. Pero ayun nga our friend Nico Quijano, he said that parang nga siyang allegory for the justice system sa Pilipinas. Na tipong the way we choose suspects for crimes na na kulang witnesses or karumal-dumal na crime, kukunin mo yung pinaka-vulnerable. Napapansin mo yung mga ganun? Yung sobrang karumal-dumal na crime tapos yung unang lalabas na suspect ay parang sobrang mahirap na parang tambay lang dyan sa tabi-tabi.
Oo. Tapos payatot.
Payatot, di ba? It's not necessarily siya yung gumawa talaga ng krimen. Kasi ang daming ganyan na parang, hindi tinorture lang, ganyan-ganyan. Pero ayun yun yung unang kinukuha ng pulis eh. So I mean, may something there eh. Pero it would be nice to look back on this kasi ratings change over time naman. And parang hindsight is 2020, ganun. So it would be nice to look back at this film once it settles in, kumbaga. Ganun. So, let's go to si Gloria at si Juan. This is an animated recollection of the character Gloria's encounter with a duende. Basically, yun lang yun. It doesn't explain, there's no explanation behind yung appearance ng duende. Parang it takes the duende thing as is, kumbaga. And, ayun, it's a very interesting way of telling it. Do you have any thoughts on this film? Si Gloria at si Juan. Relatively straightforward. Interesting lang yung pagka-depict niya ng yung folklore niya, walang judgment. Ikaw, Rafi?
Very clear siya. So parang straightforward nga. Parang you just saw what happened. Parang actually it felt more of like, 'di ba? Alam mo yung kapag nung bata ka, may mga lola, mga matatanda, parang tipong nagkikwento sa iyo ng mga kwento ni Lola Basha ang sort of effect. Parang ganun yung feel. And I think it was achieved naman by the director. So kudos.
Yan. Okay, yun lang actually. Let's go to the last film of Shorts B, Tarang. Yun. So, alam ko kung saan to sinut. Sinut to sa, malapit lang sa bahay namin. Malalakad mo siya. Sa Ermita to. Sa yung dating Amazonia Bar. Yung exterior ng Amazonia Bar, it was used for a Prime Cruise film. I forgot which one. Pero around that area. Tapos may mga mahihirap na tao. They do poor stuff. Where may pedicab driver and his wife. They're sexual predators. Blah, blah, blah. It's hard to be poor. So, ako personally, this is a very well-acted short. Yun nga lang. This is an excellent cast. Ganda ng casting.
Yes.
Pero yung content niya, parang it's something we've seen like a million times na. Para siyang I don't know, some kind of Bing Lao, Louis Ignacio thing on steroids. Na tipong, parang by itself okay naman, pero parang wala na bang iba? Ganun. How about you guys? What are your thoughts on Tarang?
Hindi siguro magandang thing to say, pero I kind of lowered my expectation. Kasi dati nasa Cinemalaya si Arvin Cadiboy, which is Belarmino, which is nag-direct nito.
Okay.
I think if you're gonna compare this to his previous short films, parang same universe sila parang poverty, there's injustice.
Yeah.
Kaso with Tarang, you're left with something that, so i-imaginein ko kung ano nangyari dun sa something na yon na, like, it's always consistent na bad things happen to these people. And I agree that all of the actors, from Sol Cruz to the minor characters, to Nat Sitoy, actually, to Max, yung basta yung may ginawang something na guy. Yun. Even, Nico Cruz, I think his name was Nico Cruz, yung pedicab driver. They're all very very talented. Kaso, very, lang yung story niya na parang, yun nga, it's like, apo ng mga 1970s crime films, ganyan, ng Manila na, alam mo yun, very overused na.
Yeah.
How about you guys? If you guys are going to, syempre as reviewers lang naman, we're just here to somewhat criticize the film. Pero, do you guys feel the same within all of the shorts na kasama sa entries na parang, except for a few, of course, parang lahat sila, they don't really carry that much weight as what you would expect in a Cinemalaya entry?
Well, we can dissect your statement a bit na tipong, what do you mean in terms of yung bigat niya? Kasi Cinemalaya, parang over time, it's parang, it's formed its own certain aesthetic. Napansin din niya nila Chard nung nag-uusap-usap tayo before, na may certain tone ang isang Cinemalaya film na parang ito, may hirap, ganyan-ganyan, may social realism, ganun-ganun. Parang lumalabas nga yun naman dun sa, this is a typically Cinemalaya film, ganun. Pwede natin sabihin yun. Especially with Bellarmino's previous film, yung Nakaw, di ba? Ang daming one take, poverty, single, camera movement, medyo handheld, shaky cam, di ba? So may ganun kang na-expect eh. I mean, swak naman siya sa Cinemalaya, pero again, this film festival has been here for like 16 years na eh. Parang we'd like a little more variety, and meron naman yan for other films. Pero I guess ayun, okay lang. Hindi naman siya hindi siya pangit for me. Hindi siya pangit na pangit. Okay lang siya.
How about you guys, Jim?
Yeah, other Jim, Rafi, kayo.
Rafi.
Wala na. Ayan, Rafi.
Kaya niya.
Ano ka ba sasabihin ko? Ayun, kasi I remember si Arvin Bellarmino kasi, di ba nga, of course, number 1 Nakaw, which was an entry to Cinemalaya, tapos nanalo pa ng Orian. Nanalo siya ng Orian, I think, a year before siyang naging entry sa Cinemalaya. Tapos last year kasi, umattend ako ng Pelikultura sa LB last year. Tapos meron siyang short film din dun eh. Kalimutan ko na lang yung title. Basta I remember yun. I guess what I'll say is, he's definitely shown so much improvement from Nakaw all the way to Tarang. Siguro, it just happens na the creative decisions that he's making in terms of representing, or no, not representing, interpreting the struggles of the poor. Parang dun ako merong qualm. Kasi, okay, I get it, that the poor's voices need to be heard. Pero parang feeling ko hindi sila represented well enough. Parang we get a glimpse again and again of what we've been seeing over the years. And I'm sure that on the first year of Cinemalaya, meron ding film, I don't know, nakalimutan ko na hindi ko alam kung ano yung entries ng Cinemalaya 1 eh. I think Pepot Artista, ICU Bed number 7, yun yung mga entries. So parang may similar vein siya, pero it's 2020. We should have more voices and more opportunities to represent the poor rather than just something that we've already seen every day.
Eto ha.
Salamin. Ay, sorry po.
Ay, sorry. Yung di ba sinabi mo before na medyo inspired yung choice ng Igib after The Slums. Ito pwede din to, after The Slums. Yun lang.
Yes. Pwede.
Oo.
Contrast. Ganun.
Yun. Pero ang ganda ng yung ensemble ni Nat Sitoy, ni Sunshine Teodoro, ni Sol Cruz.
Kasi all-star no? All-star to eh. Parang pull out of all of this. Parang Dreamcast siya, actually. Siya Dreamcasting. Pero yun.
Actually, naisip ko nga, siguro idea lang na bigla pumasok sa isip ko. Dapat magkaroon ng film, depende na siguro kung short or full length. Magkaroon ng full length si Sunshine Teodoro, si Star or Halisa, si Sarah. And si perfect.
Anong title nun? Heavyweights? Gano'n? Anong title?
Ay, grabe. Wala ko sinabi.
The Heavyweights of Cinema. Gano'n.
Grabe.
It's supporting role si Kai Cortez.
Meta-documentary. Gano'n. Charot!
Oh my God. So yun, guys.
This show is produced by Cutprint Podcast Network. Executive producer Patsy Ferrer, Head of Business Development KL Carpio, Creative Director Christine Anido, Podcast and Social Media Manager Mia Escondo, Sound Engineer Erica Santo Tomas. To advertise, email us at podcast@cutprintproductions.com.
Third World Cinema Club.